Good afternoon, scholars. I hope you had a great weekend. We are counting down the days till we end our study of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I am really excited about seeing how the story turns out. I hope you had a great weekend. Let's jump into the final chapter. We will spend 2 to 3 days on it. Then we will discuss the differences between the movie and the book. I hope that you have watched the movie by now or will be watching it. Try to have it watched by Wednesday to be prepared for that discussion. So we have studied the various sections of plot, and we learned in the past that plot is the storyline, and the various sections of plot are also called the elements of plot. As a quick review, these are the 5 elements of plot. Every story begins with an exposition. That's where the characters and the setting are introduced, and we just kind of get to know the characters, who they are, where they are, and sort of begin our interest in the story. Then we have the rising action. That is where one or more of the characters enter a crisis. There's a problem that has to be solved, and things began to get more and more intense. We finally reach the climax, which is the point of highest emotion and tension. It's the turning point. In a lot of the shows that you watch on television, that's where most of the action is. It is built up, and there's a lot of really fast moving action there. Then we have the falling action. That's where things start to slow down, they start to go back to normal, and we're heading toward the end of the story. Finally, we have the resolution. That's where all the loose ends are tied up and the problem gets solved and things pretty much go back to normal. So those are the 5 elements of plot. In this final chapter of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, you're going to see those last 2 elements being played out. You're going to see the falling action and the resolution. So I want you to be watching for those 2 things as you read the final chapter. Again, falling action occurs right after the climax. It's when the main problem of the story gets resolved. Things start to slow down and they gradually start to go back to normal. Resolution is the part of the plot where the main problem is resolved. It's all worked out as best as can be. And the resolution usually occurs after the falling action, and that's typically the end of the story. You will again encounter a number of new words as you read the final chapter. And as we've said in the past, a lot of these are British type words that we don't use in the United States. Others are just words that are higher than the 6th grade level. So let's go through those. A scepter is a king's or queen's staff, the stick that they often hold. Revelry is a synonym for celebration. Lurking is a synonym for hiding. If you are lurking in the woods, that means you are hiding in the woods. Consorts are companions or friends. A quarry is an animal being hunted, as the British would speak it. I'm guessing we probably have a few deer hunters in the class, and when you sit on your deer stand or in your deer blind waiting on that big buck to come by, the big buck is your quarry. Merry, in this case, is a British adjective for truly. A foreboding is a feeling that something is about to happen. You're probably kind of scared if there's a foreboding, or you're nervous. You just have this weird, strange feeling. Something's going to happen here. Signification is a synonym for meaning. What is the signification of this event? Visits of state are visits from officials of one kingdom to officials of another kingdom. So if President Trump hosts the president of China to Washington, D.C., that would be a visit of state. If President Obama went over and met with the leader of Russia, that would be a visit of state. Worketh upon me strangely is another British phrase, which means it gives me a strange feeling. As you read this chapter, remember that in class we spent a lot of time talking about how characters change as the story develops. And we talked about how in your own story, you have changed as your story has developed. At one time, you were a baby, and all you did was cry and eat from a bottle and sleep and have diapers changed. But now you are a middle schooler, and you don't cry except when you have strong emotions that would make you sad or overly happy. You carry on conversations now. You walk around on your own. You eat with your own spoon, fork, and knife. You don't have to have diapers changed. You, as a character, have changed as your life story has developed. And you're going to see that with these four today. You're going to see a lot of change that they have undergone as this story has developed. So today's plan is to read the final chapter of our novel. Yay! And this is your challenge question. In your opinion, where does the falling action end and the resolution begin? So we defined and discussed those terms a few minutes ago. Now you're going to see them in action in the story. Where does the falling action end and the resolution begin? And why do you feel this way? Explain your answer in 3 proper and complete sentences and email your response to gekelley@jmcss.org for the shout out. As one final announcement, we had a great time at our Zoom meeting on Friday, and the group voted to do it again. So, once again, this Friday at noon, we'll have our Zoom conference. It'll be a lot of fun. It won't be overly academic. We'll be talking about the book, but we'll be doing so in a really fun way. The login info is the same each week, but I will resend it. Scholars, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.